So while we have our own ideals of what a perfect work and life balance is, the struggle is of course having our schedule reflect that. And that leads us to the next question. Does your current work-life balance reflect that right now?
Yes. Don't forget to unmute me later.
Okay, let's play the video.
I try my best to get a balance, but I can struggle with this a lot still. I found managing my time as a student somewhat erratic sometimes because you go into lectures and then afterwards you have work that you need to do at home that's not personal work, but then you end up not having a strong boundary between or separation between personal life and work. And you're also in an environment where maybe other people they have different working habits to you. They might stay up working through the night. They might not even be working efficiently at that point. But I think if you don't stay aware of yourself and your own habits, you might get sucked into that too and feel guilty for not working when other people are. I found that after I started working in the studio, the boundary was much stronger in that sense, especially because well, at work we have an hour at the beginning of the day dedicated to warming up or personal work, and we show each other afterwards what we've done. And some people treat it as doing a sketch. Some people like to work on a bigger piece over the duration of the week. So then, at least you have something for yourself at the end of the day if maybe you want to do something other than art or you're tired maybe. And also, I think having a time limit is really good as well because you want to have something somewhat substantial for yourself at the end of the hour.
No, not yet.
It kind of doesn't at the moment because I still find myself working until 3 a.m. in the morning and after a full day of work. But I can say I'm getting better at it.
It doesn't. It doesn't because what I do at the moment, it's not my end goal and the all and be all concept art. My goal, and it's a life goal, is to be able to have my own studio, be able to work for companies from around the world, and also be able to direct my own movies eventually. Obviously, doing that in my own town or my own country, Portugal, surrounded by the people that I love. And I do believe that for me that would be the most beneficial way for me to live, because I do think that the concept of work-life balance it definitely applies to people that are really not enjoying very much what they are doing. Obviously, it's not black and white. You should definitely step away from work once in a while and enjoy some holidays, refresh your mind. You can't really go hardcore all the time either, even more in our industry, concept art. But I do think that the best way, at least for me, is to do what you love and surround yourself with the people you love, like friends and family, and also do sports. Because I think that while you get good at something other than art or concept art, while you train to become good at some sport or another activity, you're actually actively improving yourself as an artist. Because as an artist, you gotta be super versatile, I believe, in order to tackle new and original content. You gotta be able to experience a lot of things. I believe that, even though there are exceptions, like everything. But for myself, I feel like the more experience I have of the world and the more I learn of other things, the better I get as an artist. Obviously, you gotta put the work, whatever you wanna do in this industry. That would be my answer. Do what you love from the when you wake up to the moment you go to bed, surrounded by the people you love, and do a lot of sport, so you can release all the negative energies and all the stress. That will help you a lot while you work.
My current work-life balance looks like that in some ways, but still has room for improvement. In terms of stability, I feel like I'm in a good place, but the game industry does not sit on a steady surface. And even the most stable seeming companies have been shaken, so that's something to keep in mind. In terms of time, I try not to work extra hours, but when the inevitable crunch time happens, that's not always possible.
Oof, that's quite a range of answers, Ken. And I think we should start off this time by actually answering with our own answers to that question. So you can go first this time. Does your current work and life balance reflect your ideals right now, Ken?
I think I'm somewhat there.
Oh,
Just
that's great.
yeah. So I'll just tell my schedule, like what my schedule is like right now. So in the morning I wake up at 6, and then after that I do house chores, for example, taking the dogs out, and then doing some dishwashing and things like that.
So
And then
house
during the
chores in
weekdays,
general, then.
yes, exactly, and also light exercises. And then if it's the weekdays, 10 to 6 will be the time where I work for my freelance. And then afterwards, after 6, usually, it will be the time where I spend with my wife, just maybe watching Netflix or just having conversations with her because it's important. And for the weekends, it's usually reserved for my wife and my family or for myself. And then, yeah, we also try to make time for traveling in a year. And this September, we will be going to Hokkaido. So that's something that we really look forward to.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but I do think that there can be a little bit more time that I spare for exercises, because right now my major exercise is a yoga class that I attend every Friday morning. But other than that, it's just like light stretching
So
every morning.
you only exercise once a week then, Ken?
Well, in the morning I do like stretching and things like that.
Right.
So it's not exactly an exercise, more like warm ups.
Yeah.
So
You were doing it a bit more
that's why I
regularly.
think.
I remember back then you were trying like radio so and I also showed you some calisthenic workouts as well. I think that's one of the great things about doing calisthenics is that you don't have to have expensive equipment or even a gym to go to, because one of the most common excuses people have is, I don't have the money, and I understand. And being able to do it from the convenience of your own home and cut time traveling and all of those things is a huge, I think, advantage.
I mean, those are all valid points, but after I've tried the yoga class, there's just something about it that clicked for me. And
I think that's your
it
spine
actually
cracking,
no, that's my spine getting into place. Because it's interesting that you mentioned spine, because there are different variations of yoga, and this one is more focused on getting the right posture, the right body posture, and correcting your spine, things like that. And it
So do you
also
notice any
exercises your
difference from that
muscles.
already?
Yeah, actually I stand up straighter, like my back is straighter, and when I slouch, I notice it, so I tend to fix it a lot more these days.
Oh, and I think
So,
something that could actually be interesting to transition from how you conduct your work-life balance is to some of the other people. Like, for example, I think Kay brings a really great point, or where she says that she sets out a certain time to do certain things. And I know that you are a big proponent of this whole idea, and which you call time blocking. So maybe this is something that you can talk a little bit more about.
Maybe for the next question. I actually prepared that for the next one.
All right, fantastic. And
But,
Latte Milky also has some as an input as well in the chat, and she says, my current work-life balance can be a mess sometimes, especially with me having 2 different projects, but I do make sure I have some time for myself. And yeah, for sure, it's really important to do that. And is that something that you do, Ken? Just doing something that's purely for yourself, not for you and your wife?
Yeah, I try to have some personal time playing games or reading some books or comics. So nothing too heavy. It's just a time where I just relax.
Mm.
And yeah, I still haven't listened to your answer yet, so maybe we
Oh,
can
right.
get to that actually.
Sure. Yeah, I can get to mine as well. And in my case, I would say that my work and life balance goes through phases, and it doesn't always reflect my ideal work and life balance because I've crammed in so many things in the previous answer. So usually the way that I approach it is based off of my priorities or urgency, because there's going to be some weeks or months, for example, where there's more special occasions, birthdays, or some of my friends, partners coming over to town, and I'm more willing to spend a bit more of my time to actually focus on the social and relationship aspects of my life during that time period. But afterwards, because I haven't been doing as much work, I give myself the time to go back to doing personal work. So I would say that's more of a bigger picture sort of thing. But in terms of my daily life, I've actually been quite proud of how my work life balance has been, because I've been quite disciplined in terms of the time that I go to bed, the time that I wake up, and even how many times I work out in a week. I've been doing it 5 out of the 7 days of the week for a couple of weeks now, and a lot harder than I normally do. And it's been really great so far.
Yeah.
And
So
it
guess
it was a lot worse before as well, actually. And this maybe goes back to what Leo and also what Silva has said, where we sometimes tend to go a little bit too hardcore with our work, especially when maybe I feel like I don't have enough personal work done. And where Kay also mentions that sometimes it's guilt. It's the guilt of not doing enough work, especially when you're seeing other people posting up new works all the time on ArtStation, and you somehow feel that after a time of going out with friends that you want to go back home and just make up for it. And that was when I allowed my emotions to just kind of take a grip of me and controlled the way that my work and life balance was. But it's a lot better now, for sure.
Let's see. So if I hear it right, then you try to keep things flexible. So for example, if for one particular week you have one aspect of your life taking up a majority of your time, and then the next week you balance it out by having the other aspects of your life take up the majority of the time for that week.
So rather than just viewing it from the frame of daily life, I try and view it in the bigger picture. So maybe in a year, there's always going to be some time, like you said, time for a holiday. And maybe in a smaller frame, in time of the month, where maybe I have one day of the month which I spend just not doing any work and reflecting on things. But on a daily basis, I still have a certain frame or checklist that I want to go through in order to make sure that everything stays in place, or at least the bigger goals and ideals I have are intact.
I see. I think a lot of the artists that we ask, they seem like it's still very difficult for us to separate life with work sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Because,
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, because there sometimes it's just inevitable that we have to work crunch time or overtime.
Oh yes.
And we work late
Definitely.
until the morning, like Leo said. So
and as long as you're working for someone else, I think it makes it a lot more difficult to be in complete control of that. And we do think it is important to be able to identify these problems, because if we do not know what they are, how can we even begin to start solving them or overcoming them? Which actually leads us to our next question.